Kids are ditching the traditional school setting for learning at home, which makes sense.
Yeah, because their school system is indoctrinated with a bunch of goddamn leftist lunatics who don't teach things like capitalism like they should.
Especially since the COVID-19 pandemic made it so that basically all students were homeschooled with the help of apps like...
Yeah, and those kids that were homeschooled are way far behind. Like 2 full grade levels behind, because kids this young can't learn at home. They're 2 full grade levels behind. Because again, kids cannot learn at home. They need to be in school. Again, they never should have been taken out of school. Kids were practically immune to coronavirus. And again, the goddamn... the whole... COVID was not a pandemic. Let's be clear.
Leadership and innovation. There's one about leadership, teamwork, giving and volunteering.
Okay, that one I disagree with. Never volunteer for anything unless you pay me. I ain't
Markets,
working.
The America's greatness. Hold up.
I'm sorry. I may be a little biased because I am a citizen of the United States, but yeah, I think our country is the greatest one on earth. Again, why are people risking their lives to get here?
This is starting to smell like propaganda. Yep. The creator...
Oh, as opposed to Baby's First Guide to Marxism or the queer gay children's books that Target has sold in the past?
Creators of the Kids Guide are trying to manipulate...
What about Baby's Bye-Bye Binary?
Final version of my Emancipation Proclamation.
Well, actually, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't do shit.
Myself. Fortunately for me, Flossed in Paradise, as he is known on the internet, reached out to me and loaned me a copy of one of them, The Kids Guide to
Socialism is a fucking terrible thing that has killed far more people than any other thing on this planet.
The Kids Guide to Fighting Socialism. There was. Don't get me wrong, I'm generally not a fan of socialism. But come on. We shouldn't be teaching our kids what to think, but how to think.
There is no scenario in which socialism is a good idea.
The thing about public schools, though, is like, yeah, you might be getting indoctrination from a teacher. Sure,
You are getting indoctrination from a teacher. It's usually very left-wing indoctrination from a teacher. Again, and this is not a new problem. I remember clearly, instead of teaching us fucking English, my goddamn English teacher in 8th grade decided to try to make us little warriors to stop homelessness. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. Can we just read some goddamn Mark Twain or something?
As I pointed out in my own video about socialism, when I try to make a video just defining it, it was such a...
Oh, God. History's greatest monster and biggest fucking loser, Karl Marx.
Pain in the butt, you know. Okay, so here are the first 2 pages. Socialism is a belief system that says the government should control property and businesses.
Okay, that's not the textbook Webster's definition, but that's usually the end result, is the workers don't control it, the government ends up controlling it. And this part is completely true. There has never been a socialist government in history that has worked.
An economic system.
Okay, let's look at some of the other ones. Authoritarian, a political system where the government controls everything and people don't have freedoms or rights. God, this is for children. Communism, the goal of Marxism was where no one owns anything. Everything is supposed to be shared between the people. That's the general idea, but it never fucking works. Collectivism, the idea that the good of all peoples matter more than individual rights, freedoms, and happiness of an individual person. That's also somewhat socialism. All right, just socialism. An economic system where people aren't allowed to own property and where the government controls how money is made and spent. It's supposed to be the workers control it, but let's be honest, the government always comes in and takes it over.
where people aren't allowed to own property and where the government controls how money is made and spent. Nope, that is not true. So they think it's a belief system. That's not true.
Well, it kind of does run on faith, but you do you.
It's considered typically an economic system or political system. I would say communism is more in line with that definition. Here's a definition that's probably more accurate from that video I made that I mentioned earlier. Number 1, a theory or system of social organization that advocates the vesting of the ownership and control of the means of production and distribution of capital, land, etc. in the community as a whole. Number
which would be dictated by the government.
2, procedure or practice in accordance with this theory. And number 3, in Marxist theory, the stage following capitalism and the transition of a society to communism, characterized by the imperfect implementation of collectivist principles.
Which, again, would just be the government.
That third definition is the historical definition of socialism, and often leads to even more confusion about what
private property and personal property are one and the same.
Socialism actually means. Marxist theory? Yeah, socialism, even though it had origins throughout.
If I own the bar, it's my bar. My workers have absolutely no right to it because they are not incurring any of the risk.
Human history was first articulated by two dudes named Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels.
Oh, to which I wish both of them were cast into the fucking open mouth of an active volcano.
Get it? Marxist, because it was named after him? They were talking about workers mostly. They were talking about the class system. Oh,
no, they were literally just making shit up because Karl Marx didn't want to get a fucking job.
Reading on. Socialism is an authoritarian political system because people aren't allowed to own things for themselves. Okay, that's not true.
Yes, that is. If I make a paper factory, invest my money, time, hire people to make the paper at my paper factory. At some point, socialism says I must turn it over to the workers, even though they didn't risk anything to build the factory.
So you're conflating two things that should not be conflated. When we look at authoritarianism, often we've had capitalist authoritarian regimes. China
is not capitalist.
Is much more capitalist than it used to be, and it's also authoritarian. Going on, it says, instead, socialist governments regulate the economy by taking the money that someone makes and giving it to other people. Every government does that. Literally every...
That's why taxation is theft.
Government in the entire world.
Unfortunately, it's necessary theft. Because, again, I don't want the roads privatized, but I truly think this is what the tax form should be. Tax code should be. One sentence. One form. What did you make? Take 10%. Give it to the government. No more of this Social Security bullshit. No more of this other shit. No fucking... Oh, and yeah. The supposed social safety net program, oh, they're getting carved up like a turkey.
Individualism. I would argue that the vast majority of human beings actually are okay with collectivism.
Yeah, because the vast majority of human beings are lazy losers that want everyone else to do everything for them. But the problem is collectivism doesn't work. Somebody's got to get these people working. That's where the individual leaders come in.
Structure, projects, bridges.
Yeah, societies exist, and we have laws that we've all agreed to follow. But beyond that, no. Society exists with its citizens in competition with one another. I will happily open up a store and sell you burgers. But I want your money. I'm not just going to give you the burger.
Yeah, right. The right definition, by the way, is a system of how we make choices based on scarcity.
No. That also is not what the economy is. It is also how valuable are things like labor. Now, right now, we're in a labor shortage. So if you're a worker, it shouldn't be too hard to move up the fucking money ladder.
And the government and the factories are the same thing, basically. This is basically kind of what we already have in the United
No, we don't.
United States, we have this union of corporations and government. It's
What in the hell are you talking about?
pretty closely interlinked, especially if you look at banks, the banking system. I guess we have a socialist society.
Yeah, but every time the government gets in bed with banking and tries to regulate it more, it makes everything worse. If the government had just left the fucking banks alone instead of saying, these people, even though they can't pay the loan back, they have a right to a home. And the bank's like, if we give them the home, if we give them the loan, they're going to default. Their credit history is horrible. No! You give them that loan! Everyone deserves to live in dignity! And what happened? The housing crash of 2008.
Here in the United States already. Under socialism, the government controls businesses and the entire economy.
At the end of the day, yes. That's generally what happens in a socialist government.
No, that's wrong. It's actually that what they're describing is...
Okay, yes, I know, in your stupid, dumb, stick-up, fucking college dildo, fucking shoving ass. Take the fucking college butt plug out of your ass for a minute. The idea is the workers are supposed to own the means of production, own the factory. But the problem is that doesn't work. The business will go belly up. Because again, they didn't invest the money, take the risk, blah, blah, blah. And so they don't care about it. They don't appreciate it. Hence is why it'll go belly up. Plus, there has to be a leader at the top to make rapid-fire decisions. You can't make decisions as a committee. Hence is why women-led co-ops are usually out of business in a year. And let's be honest.
Technically.
The reason cars are so expensive, for example. Do you know why? It ain't because the car companies are greedier or cars are... true, okay, true a little bit. Cars are more expensive to make. But the main reason why cars are more expensive to make in this example is the government demanding all these stupid new safety features and all this stupid bullshit of emissions and all this other crap. Making cars 1,000,000 times more expensive to produce. I mean, there's a push right now constantly in Congress to force everyone to basically have a breathalyzer in their car and force you to blow on it before the car will start. And everyone will pay the cost for this system to be installed. There's also another one, I don't know if this regulation passed or not, that would require an alarm system in your car to let you know if you've left your baby in there. Well, I'm sorry, the only people that leave their babies in cars are crackheads and people that do it on purpose. Sad, I know. But again, we're all going to end up bearing the cost of this, and that damn alarm is going to go off a lot because your average baby, your average newborn weighs about the same as a sack of potatoes. So when I get my 20-pound bag of potatoes at Costco and I leave it in the car because I'm going into Total Wine, the damn thing's going to blow off because it thinks it's going to have a fucking baby in there.
Argue that. What people really want when they talk about government intervention in economies is equal opportunities. It's not...
We've had equal opportunities. We've had equal opportunities since the 60s. That's why I know the whole wage gap argument is bullshit. Women don't get paid less because they're women. Women get paid less because they take more time off and they do not, and they work shorter weeks. They also tend to go into careers that, while easier and less stressful, do not pay as much. Men spend more time on the clock, and we go into more stressful jobs, which tend to pay more. But women can do those jobs. Ladies can be bricklayers if they want. They don't want to, but they can.
Equality
also, like it or not, women get pregnant. And no, an employer shouldn't be forced to pay for, unless they're the father of the child, they should not be forced to pay for her fucking maternity leave.
Here, okay, it goes into Carl.
And again, if I could get away with legally paying women less, and I started a company, there would not be a single dude working there except for me. Hell, I could pay her less. She's a woman.
Does that...
Well, and also, here's the other thing with females as workers, especially in a lot of fields, they kind of suck because, again, women are ruled by emotions. Men are ruled by logic. Most. God. Generally speaking. And also, because of diversity and inclusion, men are still, like, if they want to be a firefighter, they're still required to pass a physical test. Women are not.
Do nothing. They want to work. They want to produce. They want to contribute to society. They want to have a meaningful role in some kind of community. And to do that, they often have to produce something.
Wow, what a diverse fucking workplace. This is 5 minutes before their male boss comes in and says, all right, bitches, get back to work.
And when they find that their peers, their fellow...
And this is why women in business don't work. Because they waste 4 hours every day doing this shit.
Oh, let's have a semicircle discussion about what we should do with the fall lineup.
Members of the community enjoy what they produce. That's a huge dopamine hit, man. That's worth it. This means that socialists see everything as a battle between the rich and the poor. When thinking like that, there is no room for people to see one another as equal because they are so focused on fighting each other. This is just flat out just lies. Look at this kid.
Then why does socialism lead to, generally a skyrocketing of crime?
Capitalism.
Especially when it's done by the government. Just saying, Hitler killed 6 million. Would you like to know how many Stalin and Mao Zedong killed? We don't know. It's that high. Let's just say, conservatively, probably about 3 times as many.
Capitalism is the best.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean 3 times. Forgive me. I mean 30 times.
Capitalism is the opposite.
By the way, this is why I believe in a flat tax, because we all use the same government. If anything, the poor people should be taxed more because they use the government more. You know how many government services I use? 0. Why am I paying more in taxes than somebody that uses them all the time? Is this whole needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few leads to the tyranny of the majority. Again, this is why direct democracy is bad. Because right now, I bet you $20 that put to an anonymous vote, the American people, the American populace, would vote to outlaw gay marriage tomorrow.
Also embargoes. The United States does not have much trade at all with Cuba. For many years it had no trade with Cuba, and that really hurt them tremendously. That's what also hurts Iran today, by the way, not being able to trade with us. This is a great example.
Why would we trade with our enemies and people who hate us?